Good morning, friends. Welcome. Excited to be here with you this morning. We are talking about the excuses the reasons people have for not moving abroad and how to get over them if they actually want to get over them. If they don't actually want to get over them, it's just an excuse. But if they actually do, if it's a reason and not an excuse, and you want to make effort, you want to make some progress in your move abroad plan, that's what we're talking about today. Hi, my name is Rashida Dow. I am the host of Exodus Summit. Wait, there we are. Exodus Summit, and the co-host of Exodus Summit. And I have lived in Mexico City for 6 years. Since 2019, I have been helping Black women and their families move abroad for what feels like a lifetime, but it's actually only a really short period of time, like 5 years. But because this is what I do, I help Black women move abroad, I have probably thought about this issue more than you have, whoever you are watching this video, right? I've lived abroad for a long time and I've helped people move abroad for a long time. So I think about moving abroad a lot, right? If you're also someone who lives abroad and helps people move abroad, then yes, you probably think about it just as much as I do. This is not a competition. I'm just saying that I do it a lot. And so I'm here with my advice, my tips for someone who wants to stop making excuses and work on the reasons that they haven't moved abroad yet. Oh, and my good friend, Dr. D. Bell, we're celebrating today. I hit 50,000 subscribers yesterday. I'm very excited about that. I've been at like last year, January, I feel like I was at like 48,000. And I was like, I'll be at 50 by March. No. Last year was a slow year. But we're here now. We're at 50. Yay. I told myself I was going to have a party today. So pretend we're partying. Pretend this is a party. If you're new here, you're probably like, shut up and get to the point. I get it. But for my people, I make this for my subscribers. I make this content for my subscribers, people in my community, my sister friends. And so, yes, we're celebrating. If you're new here, just wait. Just fast forward. All right. Hey, we made it. 50K together collectively. But also gaining a lot of subscribers in the last week meant that last week's video left our safe, comfortable bubble and strangers' sides. Now, they may not have watched it, right? They may have just seen the title and commented. Some of the comments were unsmart. Some of the comments were just, y'all know how I feel about unsmart. And you know who came with a lot of the unsmart. I'm not saying men aren't smart. I'm saying when the unsmart shows up, okay, so but a lot of men came out of the woodworks. Thank you guys who watch the channel regularly for coming out and saying hi on that video. I didn't know you were there. I talk about y'all real bad because I don't know y'all are there. But now that I know y'all are there, I may talk about you less. No, I won't talk about you less poorly. If you look at the comments from last week's video, a lot of the unsmart was from men. Oh. Because y'all are loud and you say it with your chest. Women sometimes are just unsmart inside. Men are unsmart because they don't know they're unsmart, because no one's ever told them they're unsmart. And yes, I'm using unsmart on purpose. So they just feel like their opinion, wrong as it may be, matters. But we're not talking about them. We're going to talk about I went through all the comments from last week's video, and I grabbed all of the ones that were, I'm going to call it productive, because a lot of the comments were like, you're not even a foundational Black American. You're not FBA. I'm Indigenous. So what? I was here before the white people. My family go back. Okay. All right. Um, you're a tether. You should leave. I've left. Do you want me to leave again? I don't live in America. I haven't for years. What? Um, but I do think, by the way, thank you for the compliments on the earrings. These are from Bogota. If let these be a reason to go be Stephanie's friend in Bogota, even if it's just for a week or so. There are always artisans in front of the Gold Museum in Bogota that uh, make beaded earrings that are, as long as I've been going there, really, I've been going to Bogota for a long time, really good priced. And these are from a market down the street from the Botero Museum. Botero is a famous artist in Colombia. There's a museum where he donated all his art to the Colombian government. Don't say anything. Anyway, there's a market down the street from the Botero Museum. I got these earrings there, and those museums are like a couple blocks from each other. Art, earrings. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. I think the comment when I make a video, for anyone who does not know this, I was not born in America. I was an immigrant to America. I've been an immigrant since I was 2. I have been an immigrant living in 4 different countries since I've been an immigrant in 3 different countries. 1, 2, 3 different countries since I was 2. It does not bother me when you say I'm not really American, because absolutely, I'm a citizen, not by choice, but I'm a citizen. But the thing that gets to me, or not doesn't get to me, doesn't bother me. The thing I would like people to think about is why the delivery mechanism of the message matters. I'm not here to convince you to move abroad. I'm here to help you move abroad if you want to move abroad. Last week we talked about why you probably should. And I believe I can say that as a citizen who thinks it's good for other citizens who are around my skin color, somewhere in this shade zone, right? If you're not passing the brown paper bag test, it's probably time for you to leave the US. I don't know why the messenger matters so much to people, as if it makes the message untrue. Right? Like, FBA's out there with the anti-immigrant sentiment if you're Black but not born in America. And sometimes if you're Black and don't claim that you were in America before the Europeans came over, I don't really I don't parse their claims too much. Anyhow, that like you're a tether, you don't matter, all those things. And it's confusing because when the government comes for us, they're going to come for us all. They're going to come for us all. Did you pass the brown paper bag test? If the answer is no, and even if you're real close on the other side, they're coming for us all. So, but I'm not speaking to someone whose family came off a boat in America. I'm speaking to someone whose family came off a boat a stop before, one stop further east, right? My family's from the Caribbean. Right? We were in a field cutting down sugarcane. They're not going to ask that when the American government comes for you. They're not going to ask, where were your ancestors dropped off in a boat? Dropping knowledge bomb says, we still got trafficked. We all got we're all trafficking victims. If you want to stay, fine. If you think that anybody in America who is not, and honestly, from the FBA, it sounds like anyone in the world, anyone of a diaspora who does not claim to be a foundational Black American, whatever that truly means for them, is of no value, it sounds like, when they talk. Okay. But like, we'll get some other comments because I have a different categories for today's session, and I have a category just called LOL. So we're gonna talk about some of those comments. Anyhow, let's get to the substance. Fast forwarders, I hope you made it here. Okay. The reasons. Okay, y'all. The first comment on the list is from No with 3 zeros anxiety. And their whole entire comment, and this is why I say I don't think some people watch the video. Whole entire comment is, it takes money to live abroad. It takes money to live in America. It takes money to live everywhere. To me, y'all, I don't know about y'all. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. But to me, when I hear that, I hear people making an excuse. That to me is not a reason, that's an excuse. Because it takes money to live abroad is the most I have put up a wall to any further thought on the discussion, and that's it. It takes money to live abroad. I can't even say anything to that because you're right, girl. You're right. It takes money to live everywhere. It sounds like you don't want to go anywhere, and that's fine. That's fine. We're going to the people who have actual concerns, right? Who actually have. Oh, here come Adelia. Just say you prefer the struggle you know versus the struggle you don't, whether it's poverty, racism, or whatever. We're going to get to some more of this later because the unsmarts were in the comments big time doing what they do best. Which is really just like living in fear. Not just living. Living in fear isn't a good categorization. It is creating fear in their own life for no reason. Because what is you doing? Okay. Dope Black Mama says they're accepting defeat and limiting their own options to each their own. I read in a book once, can't remember who it was by or what it was about, but it said something like, if you argue for your own limits, you get to keep them. If you say, I can't, then you can't. Right? If you argue for your own limits, you get to keep them. Yay, you won. You can't. But where's like, it's okay if you don't want to, right? It's okay. That's not a bad thing. But what else are you doing? Hold on, I'm trying to get this thingy to move. My computer hates me right now. In the words of Stephanie Perry, this is my first time doing this. Sorry. It's my first time. Okay. Okay. KO Karma has a more productive comment, which was, money is my main reason for not leaving, as is so many others. Hope I'll get out before it's too late. Just the change, a little bit more, and it's so much more productive. Money is a good reason for not leaving. Thinking that you don't have the money is a good reason for not leaving. Thinking it's going to cost too much to live abroad, to move abroad, is a good reason. But if you stop there, that's your reason to keep, right? How do we go a step further? Going a step further looks like figuring out how much it's really going to cost you. And as much as I say this all the time, people don't listen to me. People don't listen to me. If you think you can't afford to live abroad, it's time for you to do some homework and figure out what it actually costs to live abroad. What does it actually cost? What does your life cost? There are live abroad calculators like the earthawaits.com. Let me drop that link for you guys. Oy. Is my computer there we go. The earthawaits.com. I'm gonna drop. Oh, yay. Allison Rose says, I am about 7K away from pulling the trigger. I have my spreadsheets and my timeline all mapped out. That's someone who wants to leave. This is what it looks like when someone wants to leave, right? How much money do you have? How much money do you need? What's the difference? How long is it going to take you to get it? Right? Not, it takes money. I can't help you with it takes money. All right. Another cost of living calculator is numbeo.com, which I'll drop for you as well. If you've been watching me for a while, if you've been to Exodus Summit, you know both of these cost of living calculators because we talk about them all the time. My session at Exodus Summit this year was about how much it costs to move. What is the cost? Look at people who are making content. Every time, not every time, I frequently hear people saying things about YouTubers. No. I think the Venn diagram between people who were like, can't do it, too expensive, not realistic, and all these YouTubers just get online and lie to you and do it to make money. I think that's a circle. I think the people who are like, it's impossible, and the people who are like, everybody online is just lying to you to make money. That the overlap, humongous. Because not everyone online is lying. What benefit do you think we get from lying to you? Yes, people be lying, right? Yes. People be lying. It's true. But not everybody, right? Do your Googles. Find people who are out there. Use your discernment. You have some. If you're a Black woman watching this, you have some discernment. If you're a Black man, find a Black woman and borrow her discernment for like 13 seconds. Don't be trying to get her to do all that work for you. Don't be trying to get her to do a whole bunch of work for you. We're not here to work. We're not here to labor, right? But if you don't have the discernment yourself, borrow somebody else's. Maybe your mama's. I don't know. You use your discernment. Watch a lot of videos. Figure out who you think is giving good numbers. And look at that. Everybody's not lying to you. Everybody's not lying. Okay, Raquel9297, new username. I think I know. I'm pretty sure I know who that is. And she is also a career break coach. Says doing the math is what makes it real and actionable. Doing the math makes it real. Picking a date makes it real. Right? Until you do the math, you don't know if it's possible or not, or when it's possible. If you just say it takes money and you stop there, you're never going to move. You have not done any, and you're going to say, I can't move because it takes money to move abroad, without knowing how much money you have. Because for a lot of us, it's going to take less money than it takes to live in the US. For a lot of us, it's going to take less money than it takes to live in the US. And figure out how much money you have. Figure out how much money it's going to take. I've been telling people for 6 years that in a lot of countries around the world, you can live for a whole month at the same standard of living. You can live for a whole month in a lot of countries around the world for what you're paying for rent in the US. Angela, who lives in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, says, once I did the math, I realized I'd be saving 3 times more than I was spending in the US. On the Exeter Summit channel, we interviewed a woman who is living for her entire month what she used to pay. It falls under 2 different numbers. What she used to pay for rent for her and her daughter, their entire month, including a private school, a daycare, falls underneath that. It also falls under the daycare number. Her entire living expenses for the month, I believe, fall underneath, not those together, but individually, right? Just the expense of her housing, or just the expense of daycare, I believe, covers her entire month where she is. Okay, Andrea, I'm going to come back to your comment. All right. Next up on the money list. So we're going to talk about how much it costs. Okay. See Really Real said, I am so anxious, I feel paralyzed. My fear as a person who depends almost 100% on Social Security benefits is that I'll make the move only to have this administration maneuver a way to discontinue benefits. I'll be stuck in another country with no means to support myself, disabled. Also, I'm not fluent in another language, and I feel very vulnerable about not understanding what's being said around me. Okay, let's stick with the money first. Yes. If you are relying on any money from the government, whether that is Social Security, whether it's disability, whether it's veterans benefits, yes, the government could cut them off while you're in another country. That is Junquette says this is a reasonable concern. Yes. For most of these benefits, the cutoff reason isn't going to be because you're in another country. If they cut them off, look, we have a capricious government who does what they want and is a little vindictive. Fair. But they're likely to cut them off for everybody, right? It's not like they're going to be like, you've been spending a lot of time in Georgia, the country. You're not going to get your money anymore, right? It is, we ain't got no money to give y'all. Stole all the money. Stole all the money. Bye-bye, right? That's what it's more likely to be than I can tell you're out of the country, and so you're not going to get your benefits. Now, one of those, I was going to look it up, so I was correct, but I didn't. But I know you guys know. One of the types of government benefits cut off when you're out of the country for more than 60 days? Which one is it? Tell me. Tell me. Because if a government is out of money and you're in the US, what is the difference between the government being out of money when you're abroad? Right? And this is not me trying to belittle the issue. This is me saying being broke in the US is going to be crazy too, right? Disability. Disability ends, Valerina says it's disability that ends if you're outside of the US for too long. And how many days is that? Y'all know things. Sometimes I feel like I don't actually need to know things because my audience does. You guys know things. The family doesn't. Okay, you guys are saying Social Security disability insurance. Social Security travels, but Social Security disability doesn't. Veterans disability does. How long do you need to be out of the, no more than 6 months? Okay. Vanessa, okay, so Valerina says 6 months. Vanessa Style says more than 30 days. Coffee Brown says Medicare cuts you off if you're gone for more than 6 months plus 1 day. Whatever the exact number is, y'all need to Google it because I don't want to be on here saying wrong stuff and then telling you wrong stuff. But valid. But if you have money that's not going to be cut off if you leave, right? If you leave and your money's not going to be cut off because you're out of the country, I want you to sit down and think about the difference about your money being cut off in a lower cost of living place, usually outside of the US, or a higher cost of living place in the US. What is the difference going to be? And maybe you have family, right? Maybe the answer is I have family who will support me. Valid, right? Very, very valid reason. I'm going to struggle with this a little bit. You're projecting fear into the future, right? You're saying, I don't want to move because a thing could happen in the future. And if the thing could happen, I wouldn't be prepared for it. A lot of things could happen in our future, right? So I'm not saying this isn't I'm not saying benefits being cut off and being abroad wouldn't be scary. I'm saying that we can all imagine 1,000 things that could go wrong, especially with the government that we have right now. Yes, your benefits could get cut off. Yes, all of our future Social Security could be gone because they're robbing the government. They're robbing the government. They are hamburglaring Fort Knox as we speak, right? Like, there's not going to be any money soon. It could happen. It's a valid reason, but it's also like projecting a fear that we don't know is going to happen. It might. Okay. JM23. Oh, no, the other one was, I want to talk about this for a second. Also, I'm not fluent in another language. Most of y'all moving aren't fluent in another language. Most people moving abroad are not fluent in another language. Now, the second part is I feel very vulnerable about not understanding what's being said around me. I would ask why, but me asking why isn't probably not going to change that. What do you think people are saying? People are minding their own business. People are minding their own business. They are living their lives. They're not talking about you. But if you are a person who is uncomfortable at the Vietnamese nail shop because you think they're talking about you, and this creates deep discomfort in your heart, move to an English-speaking country. The Caribbean is full of them, right? South Africa, I only speak English there. Everyone understands me. Wise words, CK says learn the language. I'm not even telling you to learn the language. I'm saying most people moving abroad are not fluent. We survive. Being paranoid, allowing paranoia that people are talking about you, keep you in a country you don't want to live in, would not be my first choice. It wouldn't be my first choice. Okay. JMT2307 said, I didn't have any income at the time, but after the last election, I left, and I'm so glad I did. I country hop. She bops around, and it works for me right now while I decide where I want to settle. Managing a chronic illness has been way more affordable internationally than at home. Hello. Cost of living in general is better, but most of all, my peace of mind and stress levels have improved. I didn't have any income at the time, but after the last election, I left. I'm so glad I did. I country hop, and it works for me right now while I decide where I want to settle. So she's bopping around and does not need to apply for residency or citizenship anywhere. She could even be going to places where she doesn't even need anything but a tourist visa. She wasn't specific. Thank you, JM2307, for sharing this with us. Managing a chronic illness while going from country to country, it's possible. She's telling us. She's not a paid actor. I don't know her, right? I think it's a she. I don't know. Cost of living in general is better. Living outside of the US can cost you can save so much money just by switching to another country, right? Just by switching to another country, you can save so much money. Come on. These are the people that we have in our Exodus Summit community. These are the people who are joining us at exodussummit.community and sharing their experiences. So if you are saying, I don't know I don't know how to do it, I don't know anyone else who's done it, I'm scared about this, these are the experience you're having. Good Sharon says, country hopping, I like this idea. Yeah. Go to a country as long as the visa will allow you to be there. Go to another country. We don't keep going. Okay, back on money. I want to leave in 2026, but don't have enough funds. I thought of taking my savings and just leave, find some type of online income, and I'd be good. I can't see myself spending another year in the country. That is a plan. That is a good plan. I want to leave in 2026, but I don't have enough funds. I would question the coach in me. The move abroad coach in me says, what do you mean by you don't have enough funds? What is the number you have? What is the number you think you need? Right? I thought of taking my savings and just leave, finding some type of online income, and I'd be good. I can't see myself spending another year in the country. Do it. Do it. Take your savings and leave. Right? Seeing folks talk about rents in the $500 range is very attractive. I pay that kind of rent in the 90s. It's very attractive to me too, because I ain't seeing those numbers right now when I'm apartment searching. Now that's part of it too, right? Is if you are moving abroad and you're moving abroad on what you consider a little bit of money, or you're moving abroad and don't want to spend a lot of money, you need to find a place with a low cost of living, get your butt to the earth awaits, and then be like I posted earlier and say, what's out there? What's out there? What numbers are you looking at? You're not getting these numbers in Mexico City where I live. I have seen, I'm apartment hunting right now, and multiple times over the past few weeks, I have seen kitchens, new apartments, new builds. The kitchen is, you look in the kitchen, it's about 6 feet wide. It's a wall. There's a wall with cabinets. There's an oven. There's a sink on about 6 feet of cabinet space. Above it, maybe there's a vent and 6 feet, maybe 6 feet of cabinets. And that's the entire kitchen against a wall. That's the entire kitchen. And they're asking for like 4,000 American Earth dollars. Multiple places I've seen like this online. I'm not going to visit it in person. It's literally just like you enter a door, and next to the front door, there's a wall, and you have that kitchen set against a wall, cabinets above, stove and sink below, and then there's the rest of the apartment. And y'all want $4,500, $6,000? I'm sorry, $4,000, $3,000 for the. The apartment search has ran me ragged. But Suzanne says, Mexico is big. Find other cities. Yes. Not me. I'm going to thug it out in this apartment search. I'm going to find what I want, because everything I want comes to me. I might have found her yesterday. We'll see. But if you're new and you're looking for a low cost of living place, I've been in multiple places really where even the realtor's like, yeah, girl, I don't know about these numbers. I don't listen, but everywhere you look, the numbers are the same. Like the realtors here are shocked by the prices of the places they're listing. But anyway, good Sharon, welcome to my YouTube membership. We'll be meeting after this live stream. I'll send out a Zoom link. So yeah, Mexico City is it's never been an inexpensive place to live in Mexico. But I love it. We go together real bad. But yes, it's important that you find a place that works for you. Find a place that's within your budget, can give you the lifestyle you want, all of those things. And it's out there. You just probably haven't looked yet. Okay. Next on the list was, I dream of leaving every day, but my 96-year-old mother, who I care for, is on dialysis 3 times a week, and I don't think her health insurance would transfer, or we could afford to purchase health insurance that would cover this pre-existing condition. In the meantime, I'm trying to set things up in the event I could finally leave. I'm thinking Panama. Panama is a great place to see if the health insurance transfers. I don't know that I'd want to move my 96-year-old mother, right? Like, this feels like a very valid reason. I don't know that I'd want to move my 96-year-old mother. But if you're going to be looking for a place to live, I think what I want us to work on is feel a bark lift 2186, hey friend, says, I don't think her health insurance would transfer. Ask the question, right? Ask the question. It might, right? Ask the question. Until you ask, it's always, I don't think, or I think. It's not, I have actual evidence for this. And we're asking you to get actual evidence. A thought question: if San Miguel's more expensive than Mexico City. Each has different areas that are going to be more expensive or less expensive than the other. But housing-wise, Mexico City tends to be more expensive. It's the second most expensive city in Mexico, I think, behind Monterrey. Look at y'all knowing things. Medicare Advantage can be used in Panama, but not Humana. And wise words, CK sounds like planting season while caring for elder relative. Go later. Yes, I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we talk about going later. All right. Okay. Coffee Brown says, my mom is 86 with a terminal disease. We're moving her Medicare transfers. Her BCBS does not. Ask the questions. Ask the questions, right? I know someone who moved her elderly mother into a care facility in Mexico, and it was a lot cheaper than it would have been in the US. Ask the questions, do the research, right? You don't know until you find out. All right. Next comment is, was it? Give me 1 second. Let me see what I've starred in the chat. Oh, Restore Your Passion got their temporary residency card last week in Mexico. I'm assuming in Mexico, and they're in Hawaii right now. Congratulations, congratulations. Okay. Andriana Life. I'm not going to get into the crux of your question, but I do want to address a little bit. I often see people saying, and I have said this before, but when we know more, we share more. This isn't about knowing better. It's just about knowing more. How can I ditch USA debt if I move abroad? I'm not going to talk about ditching debt because that's a different conversation for a different day. What I am going to say is, historically, a lot of us in this move abroad space have said that your credit doesn't matter when you leave the US because no one's asking for a US credit report. Guess what? Okay. Someone asked me for my US credit report this week. I have also seen people saying, get all the cards you can before you leave, charge them up, buy whatever you want, get cash advances, and then just run out on them. What's the big deal? I'm looking for my apartment. I got asked for my credit report this week. When I rented my apartment this apartment in 2020, they asked for proof that I was legally in Mexico, and I just had a tourist visa at the time. Cool. They asked for proof that I had money in the bank. And I sent that to the agent, and she said she wasn't going to send it to the landlord. Who knows? Boom, done. Rented the apartment. Today, not only do people want guarantors who own property that's unencumbered by a mortgage in Mexico City, to rent in Mexico City. This is just to rent in Mexico City. They want you have an insurance policy. I'm seeing multiple times. It's usually one or the other. You get a guarantor or you get an insurance policy. I'm seeing guarantor who owns property in Mexico City and it's unencumbered, and they pledge the property in case you don't pay the loan, and an insurance policy that says if you don't pay your rent, the insurance company pays it for you. I don't know why we need two of those. I don't know why we need two of those, because one of those should do. But people are asking for both. Most people have asked, and I've said, do you mean one or the other? And they're like, no, girl, both. But I found a place that did not requires an insurance policy and not a guarantor. And they were like, we need to see your credit history in Mexico. And if you don't have a credit history in Mexico, we want to see your credit report from whatever country you're from. Now, I haven't cared about my American credit report, so I haven't looked at it in maybe 6 or 7 years. I haven't cared because I haven't been in the US. I haven't opened any credit. So I had to be like, let's hope no one's been using my name. Let's hope there's been no fraud out there. And there wasn't. But yeah, I would have told you last year that no one cares about your American credit report. And that got proven wrong this week. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. No, I don't rent for Americans. In Mexico, I only rent from Mexicans. I want my money to stay in Mexico. It's very important to me, right? Like everyone talks about how Americans come down here and create gentrification and blah, blah, blah. We could talk about how it's the landlords, but we're not going to do that today because I've done this 1,000 times on this channel. What we're going to talk about here is that my way of reducing in any amount the impact that I have as a foreigner down here, one of the ways I do that is only renting from Mexicans. Because if they want to send the money to another country, they can do that. But I did my part. I don't rent from Americans. I don't rent from Americans. I wouldn't suggest you do it either. It was absolutely Mexicans who were like, we want to see your Mexican credit report. And you can start building a credit history in Mexico. I have not done that. It didn't matter to me. Fortunately, I have good credit in the US. So we'll see how that application turns out. But no, I don't rent. Don't rent from foreigners in the countries you go to. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Rent from people, rent in a way that you believe the money's going to stay in the country and help the country in some way. But yeah, I would have told you that no one's gonna ask for your credit report. And I was wrong. It's a new thing, right? Like I said, it's not something that's been going on forever. But yeah. All right. What else do I wanna? Oh, Nisi Dunn says I'm leaving in 13 days. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, Amber Danae had 2 comments. I saw them both, girl. I saw them both. On one hand, I want to stay and be around her boys. Once settled in their careers, they'll be traveling. I'm open to being somewhere a month and then back here. I don't want to stay. She also said she wants to stay for her imaginary grandchildren. Some of y'all want to stay for your imaginary grandchildren and your real grandchildren. Perhaps your imaginary grandchildren or your real grandchildren could have better lives outside of the US, where they wouldn't worry about what's going to happen. They wouldn't be doing shooting drills at school. Perhaps. What do I know? Amber ain't even got grandkids. She's projecting to the day. But she's going to be abroad because at least one of her sons does a thing that allows him to travel around the world easily. So she's gonna be gone. I don't know what her husband thinks, though. We've never talked about that. We need to talk about what your husband thinks, Amber, and whether you need to leave your husband. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Jokes. But yeah, I suspect she's gonna be gone soon. All right. Next category on the list is where and safety. KO Karma says, most people I speak to about leaving, their answer is, and go where? Where is actually safe for us? And then she follows up with, I haven't traveled much, but what I have done, 2 countries, 30-day solo stays each. I found it to be peaceful, welcoming, etc. I'm leaving when I can. KO Karma was the first person in the money category who asked like a question that we could work with, right? And this is the question we can work with. Where is actually safe for us? Safety is such a peculiarly American question. And American Black question. Most of the world, and I'm talking about individual safety, right? I'm not talking about I live under an unstable regime and it's anything could happen. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about individual, will I get shot when I go to the grocery store or the concert or church? Safety is a question most people don't think about outside of the US because those things don't happen outside of, not that they don't happen outside of the US, but they happen with significantly less frequency outside of the US, right? So if the answer is where is actually safe for us, safety is an illusion. So I think the answer is nowhere and everywhere, right? Nowhere is actually safe. And almost everywhere is safer than America if you're a Black person. So, right? Stephanie did a live video yesterday about 6 countries where Black Americans are moving to in 2026. And she talked about different categories of countries. And I think you should watch that if you haven't watched it yet, which means I need to fight. Stephanie, if you're still here, can you drop that link? You know, me finding things online. Oh, no. And I've already watched it, so it's not showing up. Subscriptions. 6 countries Black Americans move to easily. Next, Black migration is the comment. I'm going to drop the link. Share. Copy. Sorry. There it already is. Thank you. Thank you, sorry. This is my first time doing this. So I'm not an expert. Y'all. I took a crochet class for the first time the other day. And it wasn't really a crochet class. It was sit down with somebody's tia and crochet while she tells me how to do it, but also what I'm not doing right. And I don't like being a beginner at things. That I've never done it before energy, but we persevere. You've never moved abroad? We persevere. It doesn't feel right. It's hard. We do it anyway. There were so many times where I was like, I will poke you with this crochet needle. Hook, whatever. And she was like, you can't even get it through the yarn. So what you gonna do? It was a lovely experience. It was a very hard experience. And it reminded me that like, It's so hard to be a beginner. And I get that some of the comments we're talking about right now are people who are like pre-beginners. They haven't even done the work to be a beginner. They have not bought the yarn yet, right? They haven't found out where the yarn store is. When I went to the yarn store, I brought a friend with me who crochets. Walk with me. I brought a friend with me who crochets, and she showed me the yarn she thought would be really good for me as a beginner and the specific crochet hook I needed to use with the yarn. If I had just gone in there, I wouldn't have known what to do. But I could have asked that really cute young man, child, who works there, who's there every time, or the knitting, macrame, and crochet teachers who are always there in the shop. And they could have helped me, right? Because if I don't know what I'm doing, I can ask an expert. For those of you who are thinking about moving abroad and it feels overwhelming, it feels like there's so much I don't know, lean on experts. Lean on it. I was in that crochet store like, oh, this is pretty. And my girl was like, no, you big dummy. You're gonna mess that up. She was nicer. But that's what it felt like. I felt attacked. Right? Lean, but she knows she teaches crochet classes. She teaches people how to crochet. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna trust you. You say I need this. You say I need this. You say to stay away from that because it's too soft and it's gonna spread too easily because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm leaning on you. Lean on experts. If you say everybody online is just, oh, there was someone trolling in Stephanie's comments yesterday, and it was like everybody is just saying these things online to stoke fear or to take advantage of Black women. If you think everybody online is just lying to you, okay, do it yourself. You got it. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. But if you're like, I am a beginner and I don't know what I'm doing and it's kind of scary, get in community. I already shared the link to ExodusSummit.com or join us in Exodus ASAP where we do coaching. We coach Black women. We help the Black women in their move abroad. Last year, 52 women in the community, one a week, one per, not actually, but one per week, one for each week got residency. One residency a week. That could have been you. It can be you this year, right? I did not know what I was doing when I walked in the crochet store like, there are 30,000 types of yarn in here. Let me go pick the prettiest one. And my girl was like, stop it. You don't, just watch me. I'll pick up the stuff for you, and then we'll show you how to do it. We're going to start with the beginner stuff. Let Exodus ASAP or any other expert, right, that you want to rely on, let them be the expert for you. Angela says, paying for knowledge shortcuts is a life hack. Yes. Because if I had to figure out how to crochet, listen, that lady made the first, like the starting loop to do it. And she showed me, and I was still like, how'd she do that? I had to do it myself at home. And that starting loop took me like 4 minutes. I could have looked it up online and seen how to do it. I'm a little stubborn. I was like, I saw her. She looped it and she booped it and she bopped it. I got there. Now, mind you, I'm also doing all of this in Spanish. I'm making it extra hard for myself. You don't have to. Take the shortcut. Lean on the expert. We can help you figure out what knitting needle to use and which yarn for your project. Which countries would be good countries for you based on what your needs are. Right? Next month, we're talking about scouting trips, about when you need one, when you don't need one, how to save money on some. We're doing all that stuff in Exodus ASAP. If you are considering a scouting trip, or if you don't have the money for a scouting trip, join us in the community and we'll talk about how to scout without going there. That's what we're doing. I'm in that class, beginner's mind, frustrated as hell. Come down, lean on an expert. Dara said she got me. You don't want to be there because I was about to yell at that lady. I was so fresh. I was about to yell at her, and she wasn't doing anything but her job. I cannot remember the last time I was that frustrated with something. I was so frustrated. What do you mean I got to hold with the tension? But how do I get the tension in my hand? In Espanol. We're talking to you in English. It'll be easier for you. I promise. Lean on experts. You have to do it yourself. Okay, next on the wear and safety. Bobby. I did not cherry pick these comments. I grabbed every relevant, productive for this conversation comment. Bobby Williams, 7816. Why would I leave here if all of those people are trying to get over here? There are bullshit here, and there's definitely bullshit all over the world. At least I know what bullshit I'm dealing with here. You are not making sense. Bobby. Plan said, oh, Bobby. And Dr. Knowledge Bomb says, just say you have Stockholm Syndrome. I think we know that America overestimates the amount of people who are trying to come here. And a lot of places where people are leaving and trying to reach America are because America came in and stole all their resources. Or some other colonial power stole, or imperial power stole all their resources. There's bullshit all over the world. At least I know what bullshit I'm dealing with here. I can't help Bobby. You're right. You know the bullshit. Ice might shoot you in the face. Whose comments was I in the other day? Oh, there was a post in the group. No, there was a post in a Facebook group. And a woman said, she was saying over and over again, someone was talking about carrying your global entry card as ID because it's issued by Homeland Security. So Homeland Security can't challenge it and say it's not real. And I'm like, they do whatever they want. They do whatever they want, and there's no rules that really apply to them. So yes, they can say it's not real. They can say this has no validity and it's fake, just like they're saying about people's birth certificates and citizenship papers. They can do that. But this woman was like, I was here before them. Okay, great. They're not bothering Black people. They're only bothering foreigners. There's overlap. There are Black foreigners. And because they're Black foreigners, any Black person could be a foreigner. I don't think you're thinking this through. Any Black person in America could be. And then she said something, and I was like, clearly, I'm not going to respond to you. I don't get into online conversations with people I don't respect. or anybody generally. If I don't know you, why would I care what you think? Right? I'm not going to try to convince you if I don't know you because I don't care. It doesn't impact me at all. But she said, I mean, where are they going to deport us to? Have you not been reading the news, girl? Anywhere. Where if you're Black American, where are they going to what country are they going to send you to? There's nowhere to send you to. You ain't been keeping up with the people they're just sending to random countries, unrelated at all to where they're from. You've not you've not been paying any attention to that. Okay. I was like, and she was so loud. Yes, a lady unsmart was like, they can't deport us because where would they send us to? It was so embarrassing. People seeing us on the street might think we're alike. Ew. Yeah. Parasani says, not bothering Black people to raid an apartment building in the middle of the night and put children on the street unclothed. I cannot engage with you. You're right. What are we going to talk about? Where are they going to send us? It was like, anywhere. Listen, because y'all saw that company they were doing charter flights with was like, no, thank you. Not anymore. Anywhere they can get a plane to go, or to a holding facility in Alabama, and then to a field. That's where they can send you. They are holding people with their papers, with legitimate papers, and say, nah, that's not real. I'm gonna keep you in a detention center for months. And no, you can't talk to a lawyer. And no, your family can't call you. Any hoodle. These are the people that I don't make content for. Because you're never gonna believe me. You're never gonna believe me. Because we're not having this. It's important to know when you're not having the same conversation. We're not having the same conversation. They're unaliving people in detention centers. They are sexually assaulting people in detention centers. There's a lot of bad happening in these places. There are a lot of bad things happening in these places, and it's only going to get worse. Right? Where are they going to deport us to? They don't care. They're going to deport you to somewhere where they're paying them money to store you. And then that country is going to do whatever they want with you, or they're going to do whatever they want with you in this country. Any hoodle. Bobby likes the bullshit in America, and he's comfortable with it. So yes, there's nothing. What do we say to that? At least you know. All right. Margarita 6700. Related, slightly different. We're going to do a little bit more energy into this one. Most people can't leave. I don't agree with this, but I'm not going to argue it. It's not a fact, it's a feeling, and I can't argue with your feelings. Most people can't leave for whatever reason, period. It's an incredibly privileged position to be able to pack up and leave, and there's no guarantee it's going to solve anything. I'm not going to argue with that. However, if you go to France and the US starts bombing France or Mexico or wherever, what are you going to do? Most people can't leave. Bottom line, it's unrealistic. Let's just get to the middle of that. We're going to leave out the feelings that are not facts. Feelings aren't facts. So we're going to leave out the feelings. Margarita says it's unrealistic for you. Okay, cool. Until you make it real for you, it's going to be unrealistic, Margarita. You got to make it real for you. Let's get to the middle of that. If you go to France and the US starts bombing France or Mexico or wherever, what are you going to do? If I go to Guatemala, they bomb Guatemala. If I go to Texas and they bomb Texas. If I go to Philadelphia and they bomb Black neighborhoods, what am I going to, where? I said I was going to come back to Adelia's comment, and she came back to her own comment. Just say you prefer a struggle you know. Just say you prefer a struggle you know. What is, if they bomb France? If they bomb, so many comments are like, well, you're not safe in Mexico because they're going to bomb Mexico. Maybe. But where in the world am I safe? Is it America? Is that the answer? Angela said, the if is doing too much work. It's too, if. Yes. They could bomb Denmark to get Greenland. America could. But I can't live my life based on things that I can imagine. I can't live my life based on fears I have created when my life today is unsafe. And when I'm in the US, I feel unsafe. And that's why one of the reasons I don't live in the US. My nervous system is does so much better outside of the US. Right? And so if any country you might go to could get bombed by the France, I don't even know where she got that one. Whatever. Any country. That's why it feels like any country. We're just talking about any country. Everyone's like, Mexico's going to get bombed. I'm going to say unlikely. I'm going to go with, I am more likely to be a victim of American state-sanctioned violence in the US than I am to be a victim of American state-sanctioned violence in Mexico. That's how I feel. We all get to feel different things. Because what? Feelings are not facts. I'm living in a place where I feel safe. You should find your place where you feel safe and do the same thing. Erica Dinero TV says, I think so many people revert to fear mongering because that is all they know, but it's the reason why they haven't even left the country to see other countries, because they're scared into staying. And honestly, your feelings are your feelings. Like I can only model for you the life I live. I can live a life, live it out loud, show it to you, model it. But I can't make you believe you're going to be safer if you don't want to believe that. Right? What if they bomb France? What if World War III breaks out next week? What if? I don't want to be in America. Yeah. I don't know why you think America would be a good place to go a good place to be if America was at war. Right? America, one of the reasons America is less great than it thinks it could be is because of the inherent individualism that we are collectively told, right, is the way to go. It's the way to go, right? We can all be billionaires. We just gotta take advantage steal resources, take advantage of other people, do all the things we got to do, right? But we're all on our way there. Very individualistic. Imagine we're at war and we have the same individualistic mindset we have now. And at war, I mean, people are actually attacking. People generally don't attack the US. Federal, I don't think we're in those days anymore. I don't think we're in those days where like America goes and creates wars in other lands and it never comes back. I think those days are gone. Because some countries are just waiting, and you know who they are. Just wait. China's like, who gonna tap me in? China is right now like, somebody. I'm ready to come off the top rope. Who's gonna tag me? Tag me. So many countries are like, I wish a motherfucker would, right? Because it's different. We're not in those good old bad days, right? Like it's not the same that it used to be. I don't want to be in a country that does not believe in community while that country's at war. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm in your comments now. Monique Joyner Seedlack. Hi, friend. I think it's my first time seeing your name. So unless you've changed your name, it's not your first time commenting. Hi. So it's 150 kilometers from the Ukraine border. Moved here the day before the war started. Don't have time to worry about it. Still better here. Still better. She's 150 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, and it's still better than the US. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's so interesting that people see this and then will discount her experience and say, no, you're wrong. Bad things are going to happen to you. Okay. All right. Lady Super says on the 2025 Global Peace Index, the US ranks low, around 128th out of 160 countries. This stat speaks volumes to me. We are a warmongering, individualistic, everybody's out for themselves country. Where's the peace? Ain't no peace. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't given this a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. We got to make up for last week's video because last week's video left our bubble and they were out there giving it a thumbs down, and we don't need that. I do think, to be fair, I say this all the time when I talk about letting YouTube know whether you want to see my videos again. If you don't like it and you don't want to see this again, give it a thumbs down. But if you do want to see it again, please give it a thumbs up. Because like I said, there was lots of thumbs downs last week. They didn't like what I was talking about. Because, we're FBA. We don't run. Oh, there was one comment. Oh, I think we're going to get to it in a minute. Because it was a little insane. What if aliens came down in spaceships? Yes, we can what if our life into being so small, right? You can what if your life into being so small, or you can just live and let what happens happens. I'm tired. China just waiting. We about to get the people's elbow. That's actually kind of funny. Do you smell what North Korea is cooking? Because they still mad. Anywho. What if the rapture happens next week? What if? What if? I know that if something happened in this right now, my neighbors would make sure I was taken care of. And I don't even talk to them like that. But I know they would make sure I was taken care of. I know the restaurants around here would feed me if we could leave the building. Right? I don't know that in the US. Remember, the US is a place where if the great water comes and floods your land, and you have to go look for food to feed your family, and you're Black, white people will stand on roofs and shoot you, and they will face no consequences. What do you think is going to happen in a war? If any kind of desperation sets in, if there's any kind of desperation, what do you think is going to happen to you? All right. Oh, this one, similar. We're going to talk about it real quick. I'm going to try to speed through this one. It's a long comment. Nick Folks, 1481. A man. Here's my why. There was a window to sample the warmth of other suns, maybe Barry O's second term or before Don T's first, when the global order was looser and right drift less synchronized. That window is closed. At this point, my US passport degrees and assets won't save me if a host country takes a hard right turn, and I'd be a Black foreigner with no roots in a crisis. My family, our assets, and my situational awareness are here in the US. So for me, the rational choice isn't to flee a collapsing center for fantasy safe elsewhere. It's to dig in where I know the terrain, strengthen local Black networks of protection, and write out what's coming together rather than alone in a foreign enclave somewhere. I've got a lot of thoughts on this one. I know y'all too do too. Drop them in the comments. I know, because there are a lot of points happening here. I want to know who closed the window to sample the warmth of other suns. Who? Because all these countries are still welcoming people. Panama, you have $1,000 in any kind of permanent income, you can get at any age, you can get the pensionado visa. Mexico, yes, the amount of money you need goes up every year, but they're still welcoming foreigners. All these other countries are still like, come through. Georgia, Albania, you can show up, stay there for a year. Rwanda's giving out 10-year visitor visas, tourist visas. So this window that's closed is in your mind. It's not real. That's a you creating a thing that's not real. But okay. Next on the list. At this point, my US passport, degrees, and assets won't save me if a host country takes a hard right turn. You are in a country taking a hard right turn, dog. You are currently in the midst of a hard right turn, and your passport, degrees, and assets aren't going to save you. Before your assets save you, they're going to snatch those assets, right? Like there's no, money's not, you're Black in a country that hates Black people, a country that's hated Black people since its inception. You're Black. Your US passports, degrees, and assets won't save you there. You'd be a Black foreigner with no roots in a crisis. I'd rather be a Black foreigner in Mexico than a Black local in America in any crisis. In any crisis. Any doesn't matter the crisis. I would rather not be in America. Next, my family, our assets, and my situational awareness are here in the US. Okay. We'll call that a fact. Sure. So for me, the rational choice isn't to flee a collapsing center for fantasy safe elsewhere. What's the fantasy? Where's the fantasy? All these people are telling you they feel safe and they are safe in other countries. Their days feel safe. Their nervous systems can sink into the safeness and they can relax. You're talking about fantasy safe elsewhere. But then he continues. Man's had a lot to say. It's dig in where I know the terrain, strengthen local Black networks of protection. Y'all, do you feel like you have a local Black network of protection? Local Black network of protection. And this is no judgment. If you have it, let me know. But what does your local Black network of protection look like? Do you feel like you have one? Okay, Jalen says here in Ghana, absolutely. We're talking about America, girl. If you're in America and you feel like you have a local Black network of protection, hey Jalen, hey, well, because most Black people in America, I don't think they do. They may have family, but is that a local Black network of protection? I don't. But we're not done. We're not done. And write out what's coming together. Okay. Then alone in a foreign enclave somewhere else. Why does everyone assume that people who move to another country are alone? My network of Black people is no smaller in Mexico City than it was in Columbus, Ohio. It's not. Now, the number overall may be smaller, but my network isn't. Why do y'all think we're alone? I see, but Stephanie was with me yesterday morning, briefly. We literally ran an errand to one place, and then she went to the airport. Y'all, if you're in Mexico City, y'all did not miss her. I didn't get to see her, really. We hung out very short time. We walked down the street. We saw a Black friend of mine. Hey, girl, hey. We walked into a coffee shop, met a Black man who just moved here and his mama, got their number. His wife messaged me last night. Left Stephanie, walked home, met another Black guy who lives in the neighborhood. Ish. Number on my phone. My local Black I'm not alone. I am not alone. We are not alone here. You can be alone if you don't want to be in community. But if you are a person who wants to be in community, if you want to be in a community of Black people, go to where there are other Black people and be a nice person. I don't even like strangers like that. But when I see a Black person, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Do you want to talk? If you don't want to talk, you don't want to talk. It's cool. But if you want to talk, hi, how you doing? Where are you from? What's going on? Hours. Stephanie says we saw one existing friend and made new friends in 2 hours. And like I said, I left her, and before I made it home, I made another friend. You got to stop assuming that we're out here by ourselves on an island. You got to stop assuming. Ooh, organic lovin'. So I spent 3 years in Cancun and now just received my residency in Malaga, Spain. Congratulations. And then Jazzy D says, sorry, but no local Black network that would save us is non-existent in the US. I didn't have a local Black network that would save me in the time of a crisis. And America is in a right-wing crisis. The head of ICE out here cosplaying Nazis. and making it more real every day. He's like, they wear a uniform with a little belt across. I wear a uniform with a little belt across. They posing like this in a photo. I'm posing like this in a photo. Because my whole life, I wanted to be a Nazi, and I get to be one now. How is your local Black network of protection going to save you? That was Nick. Okay, natural beauty. A woman? I do not cherry pick these comments. These were the comments. Some good, some bad, some whatever. I'm not fleeing my homeland like so many other people have fled theirs to come to the US. The countries that are majority Black are colonized by non-Blacks, Asians, Europeans. The US is no more stinky than many African and Caribbean nations. Many of them are dated and infrastructure is lacking. You could just say you hate Black people. Just say you don't like Black people. Because why, when you talk about stinky countries, are you bringing up the Caribbean and African nations? I see what you did there. Just say you don't like Black people. Just say you're a self-hating Black person. Because what else could it be? Many of them are dated and infrastructure is lacking. Is your sewer system gonna save you when ICE throws a smoke bomb or the police throw a smoke bomb through your window and your kids can't breathe? And no, you can't call medical help because whatever kind of militia's outside is not letting anybody in. Is the infrastructure, some of y'all sound stupid, unsmart. Leave and go where? We covered it. Watch Stephanie's video from yesterday. I have a lot of videos on the channel about places people are living really happily and healthily. If y'all don't, that's why I said I don't think people watch the video. They just want to talk back. Okay. Jeffrey mentioned the Black. Jeffrey responded and commented in response a comment about the Black Panther Party. I am very, very suspicious of this new renaissance. These new people, these new Black Panther Party people we see out and about. I am very suspicious of what's going on. Because a lot of signs that point to it's not what you think it is. So anyway, and then LG9027, I'm a question of, in response to leave and go where from the last person, says nowhere without substantial money. Okay. Okay. We talked about this before. If you just don't want to go, just do that. Hey, Auntie Marilyn. Who's in Jamaica having a great time? If you think you can't leave without substantial money, what does substantial mean? Where are you going? What is it that is actually standing? Because right now, when someone says no, you can't go anywhere without substantial money, I have a video on this channel about people who left with little to no money. Asia left with next month's rent. She did not pay the rent. She left instead of paying rent and left. And she's been abroad with her son for at least, I want to say 7 years now. All she had was money for rent for a month. No other savings. Okay. Klurudrasha. Sorry, babe. It's too many consonants in that beginning. Kludrasha 2259 says, why do they bother watching these channels if they've decided to stay? They're not watching the videos, they're just commenting. Some of these people are just not, just commenting. Because there's no way you said, leave and go where, and someone responded, nowhere without substantial money. None of y'all watch this video. Y'all just want to talk. All right. We're going to get through the rest of these. Ooh, I'm behind. Many more comments. I thought this was going to be really fast. It wasn't. Okay. We're moving on to healthcare. 302 Much says, saying hello as a Black man. Hey. Okay. I've been dreaming of leaving the US for almost 10 years. I have a very serious condition that has a risk of coming out of remission. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it work, but there's so many complications I feel like it's impossible. Understand. Completely valid. Stephanie said something a while ago that stuck with me, and it's anywhere there are rich people, there's good healthcare. Great healthcare. Now, that may not be your question, right? Your question may not be how to access healthcare. It may be how to pay for healthcare, or what to do, or to find maybe the time between treatments can't be long. I don't know what it is. But you don't know until you figure it out, right? You have to do the research on what your specific thing is and figure out where you can get treated for it, where you can get good treatment for it, where you can see the doctors you want to see. We have our friends Andrea and Jean, who moved to Portugal, but they moved to a place that not a lot of people move to. They moved to Coimbra. You don't hear that on the top. It's not the top city people move to. People move there, but Coimbra, because they had a hospital there that had doctors she wanted to see. She did the research and found the doctors there, right? That was what it took for them to find a place to go, was to really figure out what to do for her health conditions. And they did that. And if you have health conditions, and the problem isn't finances, if it's actually the care, look up and see where people, like, do some research. Who's doing the work around the world? All right, it's going to be different for every health condition, and what the specialty is, but where are places you can go where people are getting really good treatment? Because maybe the healthcare you're getting in the US is not the best the world has to offer. I know it feels like it sometimes. Because if I have to wait 6 months to see the doctor, this has to be the best healthcare in the world. Right? Like, ooh, if there's better out there, I wouldn't have to wait so long for this. But you're going to get a lot of good, less expensive, easier to access. And easier to access is going to be important for a lot of us. Easier to access healthcare outside of the US. All right. Kim from Redefining Hustle Collective says, I felt the same. Moving abroad is too expensive until I found the Exodus Summit, specifically Rashida and Stephanie, a little over a year ago. I'm scouting Hua Hin, Thailand next month. Do the work. She's going to Thailand. And her and her kids and her husband and her in-laws and maybe her parents are going too. Oh, okay. Coffee. I did not know this, Coffee Brown. France has abuses specifically for people who are seeking treatment for medical conditions they can't get treatment for in their own countries. Okay. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Oh, yay. I'll leave that up. Yay. We love it. We love it when you guys make progress, right? We love it. It's a family affair. Healthcare access is really important. That's not like that is a very good reason it's a very good reason to go, right? Your access. America is one of the countries with the least accessible healthcare. Least accessible, right? Okay. Felicia B says, I wish I could move. I don't have the money and there's certain healthcare that I need because I have epilepsy. Valid, but you may be able to get treatments for less money outside of the US. You may be able to get insurance as well. Who knows? I don't know. And it may be more accessible. And I'll tell you this, like this is what I was going to get to. This is exactly it. I mean, I have a chronic health condition. Since moving, I haven't had a flare. But at home, I was averaging a flare 3 times a week. I have chronic health conditions. I flare so much less in the US and I flare so much less in Mexico than I do in the US. And I told y'all before, I saw that doctor and he was like, do this. And I was like, I said, I've been seeing doctors for this for 20 years. No one's ever to do anything. That man looked me in the face. It was very disrespectful for a man to do this. I felt very much like, how dare you speak to me directly? I'm a lady. How dare you? How dare you speak to me? That man said, well, you've never seen me before. And baby, he was right. And I hate him for that. Because what is all this cockiness coming from? He was right. I have not had to go back to see him for a flare since I saw him 2 years ago. And I used to flare or I used to be in a constant flare for years, constant flare. And I don't flare anymore. Because the doctors aren't worse outside of the US. They're listening to you. They're paying attention to what you say. They're trying to figure it out. They're not just trying to get you on meds and get you out of their office. Healthcare is a reason to go, not a reason to stay. It feels like a reason to stay. It's not. Mm-mm. Yeah, Erica Gennaro TV says doctors outside of the US are in the business of healing. In the US, they teach you to mask the issue. Yes. Mm. Okay, yes. So Reggie. Hey, Reggie. Reggie's my unofficial husband. Don't tell anybody. They're secret. His wife knows. Okay. I waited 6 months for an appointment in the US with one WhatsApp message. My wife and I had a Mexican doctor ringing our doorbell in less than 2 hours. Stop it with the American false narratives. Yes. Yes. Healthcare is a reason to go. Okay. All right. So next category is people who need to stay here for a while. Venice Holt said, I have 7 years left and I get my pension, so I can have some income coming in. And then Larry Spiller says, I have to wait at least 4 to 5 more years when I can comfortably retire. I agree people should leave when I can. Molly says, I feel like I'm at a crossroads. I got into a really good school with scholarship and plan to leave after getting my degree, but now it feels like if I don't get out now, something bad will happen. Okay, so for these people, if you have a reason that you're not going now, valid, right? You have to decide what's more important for you, right? I do think it's good to make someone in my membership, my YouTube membership, the Everyday, I think they called it like their go bag plan. And it was if they have to grab if something bad happens and they have to leave immediately, what's their plan and where they're going? So I mentioned that to Molly in the comments, and I'll say that to Venice and Larry as well. What if you made a plan in case you had to move quickly? And maybe that plan is an amount of money saved, a place where you can get to, a place where you can get maybe easily, like leaving the US and going to a bordering country for a vacation, a nearby island, maybe another, I don't know, you know, something that's the US, but not really, doesn't really feel like the US, somewhere. And then maybe from there, you go to a place that doesn't, where Americans can stay for a long time and don't need a visa. You need to apply for in advance, right? Um, I can't tell you what your plan should be or how much you should have saved for that, but even if you need to stay for 7 years, or you want to stay for 4 to 5 more years, or however long Molly's in school, it's a good idea to have a just in case plan, right? I have X amount of dollars sitting aside in case I need to run. I know where it is. I don't touch it. I have my bag. Doesn't need to be packed. Probably not that much of an emergency. It's probably like, you got a couple hours. You don't have to like immediately run from the zombies. Erica Tanner says, oh, wait, wrong one. Got me feeling like Anne Frank keeping some bags packed. Yeah, you need to think about what can you create a plan, right? If you need to stay for a few more years, if you feel like that and feel like you're okay staying, I would still say create a plan in your mind just in case you need to move quickly, right? Just in case you need to move quickly, have a plan. Drop your knowledge bombs as a go case in their car. Bleeze is a quick exit, visa upon arrival. Erica De Niro says cash. Have some cash. Okay. And then we come back to Social Security and disability, which we talked about in the beginning. Let me come back here again. Okay, they, all caps, Empress MY1G says they are already saying no one will get benefits sent to those moving to another country. No SSI, no SS, no SSI, no VA. Like I said before, I don't think where you are is going to determine whether you get money anymore. I think beyond the rules that already exist, I think it's going to be, is there any money to send? Right? Jocelyn says, I'm an FBA and I cannot leave because of the current Social Security Administration laws that state that it would be a nightmare for retirement beneficiaries to make changes to our direct deposit accounts. I worked too hard and long. Also, I know how to interpret the law, and the only way I would leave is if God orders me to. We just gonna zoom in on that part about changing your direct deposit accounts. You don't have to do that, right? I have anytime money from the government is coming to me, whether it is what Trump's $20,000, whatever he's going to send to all of us, it hits my bank account. It doesn't matter where in the world I am. It hits my American bank account, and I take it out of my American bank account in the local denominations of wherever I am. Oh yes, Adelia has a video, if you can't leave now, and she just dropped the link. Dropping Knowledge Bomb says plenty of people living in Mexico with Social Security. So just because you move abroad does not mean you need to change where your money is direct deposited. Don't let that be. I am intentionally highlighting this comment. A lot of it was nonsense, but I'm intentionally highlighting the comment because I want everyone to know just because you moved abroad does not mean you need to change your accounts, your direct deposit accounts. Okay. Okay, then friends, I have a comment. Oh, Empress. Okay. It's LOLs / FBA bullshit. Okay. It's our last comment. So we're just gonna have a little fun right now. Shoot the breeze a bit. Empress, we just mentioned her. She had a question. It was valid. Everybody was not brought here in slavery. Some ancestors were already here. I don't need to debate that with you. My question is, what does that have to do with today? Because it doesn't matter how you categorize yourself. You could be a foundational Black American. You could have been indigenous to this land. You could have predated everybody who was ever here. When the slave catchers come for you and they see you, are they going to use the hard ER? If you fall into the hard ER category, what does it matter how you got here or when you got here or when your ancestors, how long your ancestors have been on this land since the beginning of time. Will they use the hard ER when they see you? If so, what are we talking about? What does it matter? Because where are you going with, like, what's the point? Like, what you believe this makes you special? And I'm not saying it doesn't. We're all special snowflakes. I truly believe that. We're all different. We're all special. Great. But in this context, who cares how long your people have been on this land? Are you white? Because they're running up on Native Americans and trying to deport them. What does it matter if you're not white? If they have a paid goon squad out to harass people who are not white or white people who are getting in their way, what does it matter how long your ancestors' feet have been on this land? What do you get for that, right? Like, I don't understand what the point is. This next guy is a man. It's a man. And you can tell it's a man by the comments. He's going to help explain it to us. Remember, if you leave and refuse to stay and fight against MAGA, that was a full sentence, period. Remember, if you leave and refuse to stay and fight against MAGA, when we who stay defeat Trump, period, one of the first laws we pass will be to bar all the people who ran away, their children and their children's children, from setting one foot on US soil, and it will be binding for a century and a half. If we leave, and after y'all win the war against MAGA, you're going to bar people who were not in the country from setting foot there, and it will be binding for a century and a half. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. Adele says really giving this some thought. And someone in the comments responded to me. I thought it was really good. And what they said was something to the effect, one of you beautiful people, I don't remember who it was, something to the effect of, so you're just dreaming of becoming the oppressor. You're just dreaming of the day you can be the ones keeping people out of the land. You want to be Homeland Security. Your biggest dream is to be the white man in his current form right now in America. You want to take over from him, but not change anything. You're still like, I'm in charge. You people stay out. Okay. Okay, like, okay. You dream, your biggest dream. Amina always thinks these people are bots, but these are real people. A lot of these are real people. A lot of these are not bots. These are real people. This man's biggest fantasy is immigration enforcement. Why would you? Okay. Okay. What are, imagine living a life that small. A life that small. Your dream when you win the war. And they say the war against MAGA, but I hope they understand it. As it stands, the only war they could possibly win is a civil war, because you would be fighting against America in her ultimate form. This is America. This is America in her ultimate form. This is how she started, right? This is how she is right now. So if you win, if there is a war that you could win, it's not a war against some kind of like outskirt deviant idea. It is a war against the federal government. So if you win that, immigration enforcement is what you're thinking about? Lindsay from the Plant Plan says, MAGA wasn't MAGA-ing enough for him now. He said, century and a half. Okay. It's cool. It's cool. All right, friends. We talked about some very valid reasons that we can work on, right? Someone in the comments a little while ago said they don't have enough money, and we didn't necessarily talk about that. Oh, Stephanie has a wait. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm still talking, Stephanie. So message me or whatever, what I'm supposed to be waiting for. Someone said she didn't have enough money, and I think that's valid. Lovingly, my question would be, what are you doing to make more money? Right? Is there something you could do and make money from a distant land, right? Is there something, I'm asking, is there something you could do to make money from a distant land? And would that land be less expensive to live in than America is right now? Right? I'm not saying making that not having money isn't a valid reason. We talked earlier about looking for places that would have a significantly large reduction in cost of living. But what are some ways you can make money online? We talked about that at Exodus Summit 2022. We talked about that in Exodus Summit 2025. There are ways to make money online from other places that you can do. Start looking at some of those and figure out whether you can do some of that work from places that would cost less and would be less stressful than the US is, right? I'm not saying that's not a valid reason. I'm saying that it's always going to be your reason until you start doing some research and dig into it and figure out what you can do and what you want to do. Stephanie wanted you to wait because we're celebrating. She missed that we did a celebration in the beginning, so we'll do a new celebration. 50,000 subscribers. Okay, are you subscribed? If not, it's time to subscribe. Let me see. Let me see if any of y'all joined while I was here. Some people, between last night and this morning, some more people subscribed. 7 more people. Welcome to the family. We're very excited to, as always, to be here with you. If you are like me with my crochet hook, needle, stabby stick, and you're like, I can't figure this out on my own, join us in the Exodus Summit community or join us in Exodus ASAP. They're both spaces that are only for Black women. If you let your partner get behind the keyboard and you get booted out, because they're only for Black women. So yes, we would love to have you there. ExodusASAP.com for our paid monthly renewing community. I dropped a link earlier. Let me drop a link again. We do coaching in there and we help people move abroad. Like I said, 52 new residencies last month. So like 1 a week. And then our Exodus Summit community, which used to be free on Facebook, but now we pay for a platform so that you're not giving Facebook your info. And that is a minimum of $1 one time, because we can't. It helps, like when Stephanie and I were thinking about how to keep the trolls out, we were like, a paywall. A paywall. Trolls don't want to associate their credit card with their trolling activities. So there is a paywall for the community, minimum of $1. That's not recurring. It's a one-time fee. Come hang out with us. If you haven't liked this video already, Lady Sarita wants you to like it. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We are going to do I host a meetup on Zoom for the members of my YouTube community, which is different from any of the communities you've heard so far. And we're going to meet up today in about 10 minutes. I'll send out a link. And yes, I'm going to ask if we're having a party in our member chat. We are going to have a party. I'm going to celebrate by eating plantain chips. Surprise, surprise! Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Can you put a members only comment on your lives? I don't know what you mean, Jen. But I'll see you over there on the Zoom. I'm going to send out the Zoom link, Shan, and we will see each other soon. All right, did Natalia just join? Oh, yay, Natalia just joined for ASAP. We're excited. We're doing our Get Your Next 3 Clients challenge now for women who have an online business, coaching, consultants, therapists, running the gamut of things. And in February, we're doing our scouting. We're working on scouting trips collectively. Welcome to ASAP, Natalia, and everybody else. I will see you next week. 50,000. I told y'all I thought I was going to hit it by March of last year. So I'm like 9 months behind schedule. But what is a schedule? What did we do? We're going to celebrate in a little while. See you guys later. subscribe. Double check to make sure. Stephanie says right on time. Double check to make sure you're actually subscribed and you're not just getting sent my videos. All right. Bye, guys.